like to talk about a common theme in my book, Metadimensional, uh, which is the rejection of physicalism, or by its other name, maybe more common name, uh, materialism or reductionist materialism. The idea that everything can be explained through physical processes, through description of physical processes and physical interactions. Now, what's the problem with that? Well, first, on the fact-checking level, like it's not conducted as a serious approach. Like, look, physicalism basically says everything in reality can be explained using physical equations, or we will be able to do that. But the first problem to notice is that there's just too many holes in physics currently. Like, currently, you have this dark matter. It's like, I don't know how much, 20-something% of the universe is missing. And so they invented something for it. And you have 60-something% of the energy, dark energy. You can track it anywhere, and just invented it to make the equations work. And you have the double slit experiment that I mentioned before, where you have explanations that don't make any sense once you just pay attention to the fact that there's an experience that is making choices, or at least there's an experience of making choices. Once you put that, it just doesn't make any sense. So, and there's more, like, there's a physical randomness when you say there's randomness, and then you say, no, there's randomness, but something is curbing it, like it only affects this region of space, and not so much above it. You have to explain that, and you can't explain that because randomness means not adhering to rules. So what makes something that doesn't adhere to rules suddenly adhere to rules? There's absolutely no shortage of examples where physicalism, or science, the science of physics, can drops the ball when it comes to describing reality. So I don't so that's not a reason to not to say this can't work, but currently it doesn't. Okay, currently it doesn't. But that's not nothing to do with the theory. The thing that with my book, the thing that I personally find unsolvable with physicalism, with reductionist materialism, is that I gave the example that reality looks three-dimensional only to serve an experiential agent, and physicalism without the three-dimensional reality is kind of like, well, you're just talking about like abstract concept. The thing that makes physicalism compelling, materialism compelling, is the fact that it's like about stuff as you can perceive it, like in 3 dimensions, as you traditionally would. Once you take that away, it simply is not, like, once you start saying, yeah, that reality is not really, it's 11 dimension or whatever, that's kind of like, it no longer has that appeal. It becomes like just abstract and hard to track for everyday people, and therefore not as persuasive. But so so you have this perception of three dimensions that I think is like it's simply compatible with experience. That's the only reason it is three dimensional. But then you have to just ask the other question, which is like, are you like, well, there are two questions. I'll start with the first, the most obvious one. How do you think you're gonna get from physical processes to experience? Like, seriously, like, have you ever? Do you have anything other than just hand waving to explain this? Because I don't think there is any explanation that is in any way persuasive. That you start from uh, particles or I don't know, fields moving elements in space, and then there's something that it's like to be them. Like, what's the step you're gonna make? How are you gonna even like imagine that step? What there's nothing. You just make if you're saying that, you just you're just making this up completely. Like, so that's why. So I don't like physicalism and materialism for that, because well you're gonna say everything is physical, but you have absolutely zero even concept how how this thing that is experience, how it feels like to be, all that stuff, how it comes from that. You have nothing. Um, and and the problem with that then is that, yeah, okay, so you think it's just you're trying to explain just experience, but no, actually, if you think about it, if you think about how experience comes to be, if you just admit that you have nothing to explain it, now you have to answer questions like, what makes experience emerge in a baby? What makes experience go away when you die? What happens before and after? All that kind of stuff. And you're saying, like, by making this, giving such a lousy answer, such as materialism and physicalism, you just saying, oh, okay, this is all so murky, like we're not gonna touch this. But this stuff is important for so many reasons. Like, we have there's gonna like there is this topic of abortion, for example, and you have no foundation to explain what happens before birth. You don't have can't explain what is death, what is life. You have nothing. If you're coming from physicalism, materialism, you have nothing, and you're saying one day you're gonna have it, but what if you don't? So what if taking this approach? You're just basically saying, okay, I'm gonna never address this seriously. I'm always gonna just make it an emotional uh, argument, whether I want, how much I care for whose life or whatever, forever. If you're making a mistake with physicalism, that's basically what you do. And I think it's important. I think you can just, like, you don't, you will never have a valid moral system, ethics, if you don't solve this. And if you stick with materialism and physicalism, you kind of just messing about in the most important things there are. For what? Why is it so important for you? I know why it's important for science, because science can only explore things from the outside, from the phenomenology, as it is perceived by a third person. It doesn't have much to do. It can process subjectivity, but that's okay. That's the problem of the method, not the problem of the problem statement. Problem statement is explaining reality, not providing, I don't know, job for scientists.